minute, will you top me off?
Tony,
I'll
you're
top
live.
myself.
All right, thank you, man. We're real thirsty. Sherry, are you sure you're hydrated? Are you hydrated? Okay.
Yeah. I'm good.
All right, thank you all for being here. We'll call this meeting to order and ask you all to please rise. I think the invocation tonight is Reverend Steve West from the First United Methodist Church, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. We have a special guest.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, during this month of February, as we celebrate President's Day next week, remind us of the incredible legacy of our country and our government and the freedom that it represents. Not only Washington and Lincoln, but the many leaders that have prepared the way for the places we are today. And during this month of February, O Lord, Black History Month, remind us of the incredible leadership and perseverance as people of color that make this country great. And in light of these things that we celebrate, be with us tonight as the City Council gathers. May we be mindful of the grand heritage that we get to be a part of on the grander scale. That local politics and activities and city projects are what this nation is all about. We ask that you be with us tonight and guide these proceedings. Open everyone's eyes and hearts to be mindful that we are all on the same team to make Jacksonville an even better place. In Christ's name we pray these things. Amen.
We have Miss Maybe Robinson. She's a fifth grader from Kittystone, and her teacher is Miss Bell, and she will lead us tonight in our pledge.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Get your loot.
Well, she gets candy and a corn.
Yes.
Feel that seat tonight.
Thank you again. Great job. All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Green?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Miss Laster? Here.
Item 5 is proclamation. As Reverend said, this is Black History Month, February of 2025. I think Sherry is going to read the proclamation.
I will.
Thank you, ma'am.
Whereas February has been designated as Black History Month and serves as an annual celebration of the achievements of African Americans in the U.S. history, and whereas the theme of 2025 Black History Month is African Americans and labor, and whereas observance of Black History Month is set aside as a time for all people to become more knowledgeable about Black heritage and to honor many Black leaders who have contributed to the progress of our nation. And whereas such as knowledge can strengthen the understanding of all of our citizens regarding racial equality, human rights, establishments of common goal as one nation under God. Now therefore, I, Johnny Smith, by the virtue authority vested in me as mayor, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2025 to be Black History Month in the city of Jacksonville, and urge all residents to join together in making this period of recognition to the principles of justice, equality for all people, as well as acknowledgement of oneness for all people in every race in our community, state, and world. Thank you. And it's signed today, 10th day of February 2025.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for doing that. All right, we'll move on to the work session part of this meeting. The first item is item A, the acceptance of the minutes. Any questions, comments?
Nope.
Nothing? Nothing? All right. Thank you all. Thank you, Brenda. Item B is temporary road closure of 2nd Avenue Northeast. Jerome Baker. Mr. Baker.
Jerome Baker, PNC Construction. I'm working on the job site superintendent for Randy Oil Center. We are needing to close the 2nd Avenue, as you can see in your handout, to install some stormwater conveyance upgrades in 2nd Avenue running east at the current head wall also have a sanitary sewer line that has to be extended and reworked due to a design issue. That's the drain line that you see running south-north. Both of those are, of course, going to be in the roadway. There's gas, there's domestic water, there's multiple utilities that have to be taken out, storm drainage installed, then the utilities put back in place.
How will that affect all the housing area up in that way as far as you shutting it down?
Second page of your handout. The first page, I'm not sure how it's stapled. There will be no inconvenience for any of the residents here. We will maintain this one way at St. Charles. There will be an inconvenience for anyone that normally travels 7th out and makes a left or a right. This thoroughfare will be open, and the one next to it, I'm not sure of the street name, but I guess it's Sixth. Will remain open. This will be our real closure limits. Driveway right here. This house will be accessible. Drive for this house is off to the side, so it won't be affected. We'll have a fence up. We'll have signage placed by state regulation, 1,000 feet out, to warn of the closure, much like we did on Church Avenue.
Have those property owners been notified of possible inconvenience?
No, we can notify those, but we're requesting a closure to start March 3rd. We can reach out to these. This one is vacant. This is students that we can let them know.
Well, Catholic Church also.
Okay, yes, sir.
And that's a well-used pathway up to get through the avenues. I use it.
I was about to say, I believe I know a council president who uses 7th Street every day.
Yeah.
And so it's about a 60-day downtime?
Yes, sir. We will stay. Those are more than 60 days of work here. Gold line is a curb, new entrance into the facility. We will adjust our fence and work within our fence, keep the road open until we have to cross.
I know I've stood at the, kind of that northeast corner of the property just after a normal rain.
Yes.
And have heard the amount of water that will flow through that area that's coming really from the east
Yeah.
that travels west.
Way behind the
Yeah, the
church.
fall, yeah, exactly. So,
This will double your stormwater carrying capacity
I imagine it
through
would.
that area. This is the exact same size as what's there now, so you'll be doubling your conveyance through this area.
okay. Does that have any impact? I'm no PE, but I know what is along the east side of this property and along the south side of the property that moves further west. So right now there's drainage. It's not on the extent of well, it is, but it's not marked here. But what runs? So what you've got? No, it would be further south than what you're showing here.
It's all page.
Does that impact that at all? I know we were talking about increasing what the capacity is.
You're not gonna move any more water than what you're gonna move. I mean, rain is gonna be rain.
Correct.
It will help with ponding and flooding upstream of here. But as far as the amount going through the conveyance, the natural conveyance south of there, I can't see an impact.
Okay. And the reason I say that is if anybody's paid attention, we know what's coming this week and in the weeks to come. I mean, we know by March to May, who knows what water will fall. But as that work begins, if there's any anticipation of disruption of that 36-inch pipe that's coming in, because of so much that is on the east side of that,
And by the nature of the beast here, we have to work upstream.
that's exactly.
So
Thank you for saying that.
we have to work upstream,
Yeah.
setting the laying pipe.
Yep.
So we're starting here now. We'll stay inside of our fence until, once this is approved, then we'll turn and go east. Once we're there, we'll be able to convey water through the existing and the new. has been reworked. And a lot of the other systems in church, through various things, either they just lived out their life, a lot of that drainage is put in 1965. But a lot of that has been upgraded and upsized on Church Avenue. But that gravel parking lot with that new detention pond should help.
Just right there at the northeast side of 7th, there's some fencing there that's been deteriorated or someone's hit it. Will there be any kind of improvements in that area?
You're talking about the old black vinyl. Yeah, all that'll go away. There's no plans for any new fencing. That slope will be reworked. You can see there'll be a new concrete head wall, new riprap. There'll be some improvements, some overgrown vegetation removed in the work area.
It is on the agenda tonight. Is there
Yeah,
any
I mean,
questions?
If you don't do it, they can't do the work.
Well, you know, and understanding, you know, some of this is replacing some existing sewer, sanitary sewer. It's being done at the expense of the contractor, so, I mean, it's, you know, it's part of progress. And I think the biggest thing is, it's always.
We'll help the city in the future.
It will.
Off JSU's property.
It absolutely will, and it'd be as least disruptive, I think, is all that we would ask to any residents, and it's unfortunate sometimes those things happen.
The church, and we'll notify the two houses if anyone moves into once. It's been vacant for a few weeks. I assume it's student housing, but we'll,
I think do that as a short-term rental.
I think so, yes, sir. What it appears to be. The parking at the other house looks like students, with the number of cars and the time they come and go.
If that is a short-term rental house, we could probably get you the contact information for the person who actually owns the
Actually owns
house.
it.
So you can let the owner of the house who rents it out as short-term property know what's going on. You just contact the finance department.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Baker?
Good.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, council. Thank you.
Item C is the confidentiality agreement with Tim Smith. Tim?
Are you able to tell us about this, or is it confidential?
Yes. Thank you. First of all, just tell you why we're presenting this. I had proposed this to the mayor. Confidentiality agreements such as this will accomplish three things. One, they'll help bolster the city's position when it comes to liability, when it comes to any possible data breach that involves a vendor or a contractor. They'll help ensure regulatory compliance and support cybersecurity insurance requirements. Those are the three main motivations for presenting this. What I have proposed would be a baseline, a precedent, a template for going forward with future contracts with anybody that has access to city data, that similar language or similar concepts be interjected into any future contracts or agreements with other vendors. Would even like to think that we could reach out to vendors that currently have access and get some sort of agreement, just so the city has record of such an agreement. And what the agreement basically does for the city is it ensures that the contractor or the vendor has an understanding of their requirements to maintain confidentiality of data that they may have access to. So nothing magical or mystical about the contract, but it's just getting a record that the vendor or contractor understands their obligations to the city.
Any questions for Tim?
You already have a standard agreement we would use that you'd send to these people?
Well, I just
or-
made up one, and
I knew that was coming. so
Better
go
than you and
ahead.
I.
I sampled some others, but I think, you know, it puts back onus on municipal technology services obligations in writing to what we're already trying to do. But we want to be upfront with the city that we're maintaining all of our access to data with confidentiality and integrity, and not using it for anything other than to help facilitate the city's operations and protection of the city data. And so it's just language that speaks to that.
There's more billable hours for their attorneys, is that right?
No. Attorneys don't bill, do they?
I don't know if you put that in the minutes that he's not in his head. Tim, I just want to thank you for everything you do. There's a lot of things you bring forth that I've not thought of or about. So thank you for keeping us
Well, this is
safe
an
and
aside.
modernized as we can.
Well, thank you. What I would like to do, if y'all think this type of agreement is pursue such agreements with other vendors that we already have a relationship with the city. I don't mind acting as a middleman on behalf of the city to get that dialogue started and ferret out where we might want those. I think it really helps in a lot of ways, but regulatory compliance is huge. The cybersecurity insurance is huge. One thing that I didn't mention earlier, grant opportunities. So anytime we might want to submit for a grant opportunity in regard to something technology related, it would bolster our position where we stand in best practices.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Next item is first due. The amendment to the agreement is going to be the chief, but I think the mayor is going to speak on that.
You know, this is a software they use to do fire reports, EMS reports. It is already in place, but they're happy with that for their fire reports, but it has caused some confusion about EMS reports interfacing with where they have to report onto the state. So they would like to drop the EMS part of this and just stay with this company for fire protection. I think it knocks about $1,000 off the cost.
Any questions for the mayor? Thank you, sir. Item E, we were going to skip that just briefly. The chief is not here, as I said. Chief is trying to get ahead of the game. If you're not aware, it's probably a 38-month build out when you order a fire engine. They're very costly. They've more than doubled in prices since the last time I had the opportunity to purchase one in my previous profession. So he just wants to bring that to the council and see. So he'll probably be prepared to do that. Should be next meeting, Mayor.
Yeah.
Have we ready?
I think you have in your package some information about the possible where we could pay for it. But he'll speak to that more next time.
All right. Thank you, sir. Item F, the assistant building inspector job description. I've asked Joy to speak on that, or if you have any questions on that. This is a position that we've been toying with for many years now. And it's changed. The description has changed several times. So just kind of update us on exactly what this entity or whomever we hire will be doing.
Will do. Okay. First, I want to touch on the maintenance of City Hall. We've needed that for so long. When we use Josh or Rob, when Mark was here, it's pulling them away from, at times, something they really need to be doing besides changing the light bulb in my office. So that person will be assigned that. Another thing that we did on the beginning, it said 1 to 3 years experience in the building construction, electrical, and plumbing. So the applicants had to have experience in those 3 areas. The ones that we found that had that were kind of above our ability to pay. You know, they had that experience, and these jobs out in the public pay well. So it's a unique individual that comes to work for the city, I think. But So we changed that to building construction, electrical, or plumbing. So that way, if they touched on one of them, then they're gonna make the cut. We had a hard time. I think out of 8 applications, we had 2 that qualified. So we don't feel like we're taking anything away, because after speaking with Josh, they want to train this person like they want them. If someone came in, unless they had been a building inspector or assistant building inspector, they're not going to know what they need to know coming in the door anyway. Also, Josh was telling me this afternoon, when this weather breaks, we're gonna get busy. We're gonna have some construction. One thing that these guys do is go out and look for builders, workers that don't have building permits. And what Josh was telling me, I really hadn't thought about. It's good to do that with 2 in a vehicle. You got the driver and you got the spotter for things going on. And then we'd have that other person there working. So they have not been able to go out to a vehicle in a while. So they felt like they would build revenue doing business license. Also on inspections on big properties, Josh said it's better to have 4 eyes. So those 2 building inspectors can go out. Josh can stay here or wherever and do his job. So he's being pulled away some right now, and that would be good. Let's see. I believe that's it.
So when we changed this, I've expressed to you my opinions on some of this. Since we watered down the job description, are we still at the same pay scale as we were previously?
I feel like we are, Tony, because we cannot compete with a home builder. That's what I'm trying to say. So here you might get a younger person that comes in, they're not waiting, you know, they're not going to have a lot of experience, I'm sorry. So we just didn't feel like we needed to lower it, because you've got to have some of this somewhere on your resume. And we felt like with the right person we can build. And we got lucky with Josh and Rob, and we're hoping to get lucky again, somebody that can come in and make an impact immediately.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Joy.
All right, next item is the establishment of a healthcare committee. Mayor, you want to speak on that, or?
Yes, I had, been asked by the group to look at the possibility of establishing a healthcare authority. You know, we worked very hard in trying to do something about a freestanding emergency room. And it looks like if we ever make that happen, may very well need a medical authority. We might make that a little easier in our efforts to do that. I don't have that for you tonight, because I wanted, you know, we have a Jacksonville Health Authority now that had him, and the members are no longer around, but I wanted to dig out those records and see if we might just re-up that one rather than establish a new one, look at the policy and so forth. But in looking for that, I discovered those records are somewhere trained up on. So I just didn't get a chance. Patty didn't get a chance. She was out sick a couple of days to dig those out. So so I felt like we'd put that off till next time. I'll try to have more information next time.
I think that's a smart
I do too.
strategy. I know that there have been some of our groups that have been working in relation to that. IDB, comes to mind. We just heard that a minute ago. But I think specifically for healthcare initiative, that would be a targeted approach. So.
I know there's several that made the statements. We have not given up on that.
Nope.
Not at all.
No.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Item H is any other business that need to come before the work session.
One of my favorite topics, I think.
I don't know.
Money.
Money. Good evening. I gave you both, everybody pictures of the two, welcome signs. So I'm coming before you this evening because, a report is due to Alabama Power, soon, to inform them of what we've done with the money that they've given us. Alabama, I applied for a grant last year, to improve, the welcome signs coming into Jacksonville. Our original request was $2,500 from Alabama Power, and then we asked JSU for a donation of $5,000, and we were gonna ask the city council, for $5,000, to cover the refurbishment of the existing two signs with new sign facing and 2 new seals, and to build a new sign on 204 to match the look of the existing sign. The refurbishing, estimate that we have is $2,860, and to build the new sign on 204 is $8,400. Unfortunately, JSU at this time is not interested in, offering any funds. They are looking at doing their own signage on campus of some sort. I'm not quite sure about everything with that. But we did receive $1,800 from Alabama Power, and we need to decide what we are going to do as far as, the money coming out of Jacksonville's budget, completely to do everything, or do we just wanna do the refurbishment on the current 2 signs and see what we can do to find extra funding to do the sign on 204? Or replace the sign on 204, not make it as nice as the other 2 signs, but at least a newer sign.
Well, I think I had brought this up.
I had not thought of that last option you just brought up.
No.
Sorry.
That's a thought. I know I had brought up the signage.
Yes, and that's what prompted this.
Yes, exactly. And I think that as you drive by, as you look at these pictures, and I'm seeing this was, I don't know.
This was right before we applied for, the grant. So, these 2 signs, they're old and dated. They have the old seal for Jacksonville. They also have the old seal for JSU. And so the company that that I contacted out of Gadsden, Gadsden Sign, came out and looked at them, and so they would repaint the entire sign and, do new, repaint it, the Welcome to Jacksonville, Alabama, and put up, a new seal that we provide for both the city and the school, if that's what we chose. We also have, gotten a commitment from the, horticulture group, the gardening group, to help us, replant new plants and flowers out there. And, we would also get assistance from PARD to fix the lighting that's out there, because both of them have some issues with lighting. And so we're looking at, replacing the lighting and turning it to solar, so that it would be able to manage its own through sun power.
So readdress the cost. If we decide just to refurbish and update.
If we decide to refurbish and update to 2 current signs, coming into the city, right now we're looking at $2,860.
And we got from Alabama
We
Power.
got from Alabama Power $1,800.
So
$1,060.
I view it as signs are one of those things. I think, people coming through is the first thing that they see coming in. They don't have to be on the official city limit.
How much is it for 204?
The
Because I mean, what
204
you're talking
sign,
about is people coming in.
if we were to rebuild the sign to look like the other 2, match the existing, it was $8,400.
So
And
it'd
that
be-
would make it a stone structure just like the other 2 are.
It'd be similar to match that.
So it'd be
Yes, to
roughly
match
10
that.
grand.
So I view, again, I think the signage is, I don't know how long these have lasted. I'm gonna at risk of sounding, these have been there 20 years.
They're 25 years.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. So,
Yeah.
and I know the one that's on the north end of town, it's not in the right of way. I think it's technically probably in the middle of campus property, I'm guessing. But the JSU seems to maintain the grounds around that
they
one
do.
very well.
I would say we've gotta do something to take down the sign on 204. I was a part of redoing that sign about 15 years ago. And I don't know, I mean, short of me taking a Sawzall to the posts that are out there, I don't know who needs to go do that work. I know that the former sign company that had done the work for that in kind, that company is closed.
Yeah, that's the last person I had a conversation
They
with
have,
about 8
I don't
years
think
ago.
they have any interest in the signs at all.
Yeah.
I would say whether that be Stanley or someone else, whoever the mayor would direct to do that, to get that down. I think that got damaged in some construction work in the property that's adjacent to that area. And I drive by it every day and it looks pitiful.
Right now, they're being held up by just some really heavy wire that somebody has like wrenched.
Baling wire will
Baling
fix
wire,
just
yeah.
about anything.
Yeah.
That or duct tape.
Yeah.
I would say we try to get that down off of 204 as quick as possible. I mean, anytime somebody's driving in, Northeast Regionals start this week. No, yes,
Yeah.
this
Yes.
week.
Tomorrow.
Yes, you know, and someone who's never been to Jacksonville before, that will be welcome to Jacksonville. You know what I mean? I don't think that's the image that our city projects once you come into the city and you see the excellence that there is, but that sign does it. And if you look at these up close, now from afar,
From afar, they're not
these
as-
are okay,
Yeah.
but they can be better.
Yeah.
No,
And
Yeah.
I think even from afar, you can detect, you can tell that they're weathered.
yeah, when you've been able to see them, but
Now, we also, as far as going down 204, is there not proposals for the state to do some sidewalk work
Yes.
in that area?
Yeah, I don't think they'll be out that far. They go to the Lincoln line, I think you want to sign further out than that.
well, that's back to what I'm saying. I don't think
Yeah.
the city limit line is as important as maybe the business. You know, you might be in the city limit, and there's a
If you go
green
out further,
sign.
you'd be putting it outside the city limits, but I think that's okay. The one now is outside the city limits.
We had discussed once upon a time with a group, and can't remember exactly, that if we did go to the expense to spend $8,000 to $10,000 on a single sign, would it be possible to bring it closer in, even possibly behind the baseball stadium? That there's a void right there, but that would that'd need to be a partnership between us and Jack State.
Now, $8,400, does that include lights too? Because you got two lit, that would
Yeah.
include lights.
It'll be exactly the same as.
Well, the pin that goes into all of that is the 204 work from AlDOT, and right now on that south side of 204, there's a pretty heavy ditch that's there.
Yeah.
That you know, but I don't know to what level that Jack State's looking at doing its own signage that you mentioned.
I don't know.
Well, there's a Jack State of mind.
Thank you. If I could, just
Yes,
kind of
please.
explain the president's vision for that as campus is also expanding down 204 with the fire station. I think he's wanting to book in campus that way. So, obviously, we love what y'all are doing and the idea there, but, you know, kind of his vision is a welcome to campus as we are growing on all sides. So that's where he is with that.
You know, that sign on the north side really needs to be moved out.
I don't disagree. I think it could, you know, with
You
the fire
can't move it,
station.
I don't think. I mean, I think that means taking it down, and building a new one up.
Well, and that's back to, I would not want to spend even the small amount to refurbish it, and then in a matter of
Yeah.
time frame, it goes
Right.
somewhere else.
The new fire station is gonna have a knee wall to cover, that end of the station, the way the layout is. And the chief actually mentioned
use
in
it?
one of the last meetings that if we needed something like that, maybe could do a purpose and redo the sign there.
How soon you guys spend the 2860 or whatever?
We have to,
1,500.
we were awarded this in, October, so we have to use it by the end of September or ask for a, extension.
What I would think is the south side, 21 north, that could, and that's the area that doesn't get as much TLC, maybe, as the one on the north end. Just
Yeah,
call it like it is.
it's overgrown.
It's
and
grown
I
up
know
pretty
we've
bad.
gone out and cut,
Yeah.
the group that I've been with we've
I
gone
pulled
out
my
and
truck
cut.
around because I have an inverter and I had hedge clippers that I was
Yeah.
using to get some of that, but
Yeah.
I would think that could be at least a starting point
Mhm.
to begin using some of that,
Mhm.
to show good faith that
faith.
we're using it.
Right.
And the talks about the north side, that, if it needed to be redone, and then,
Yeah, I could call the sign company and ask them what the total for that one would be,
okay,
and get that total and bring that back to you at the next meeting.
Maybe right.
like that.
Have you worked with GSU at all about what they would wanna change and put?
Not yet,
updates?
no, I have to check with them
But,
too and get
you know,
their
I was
new,
joking, so
their
they've
new
got a brand
seal.
new, yeah, new,
Yeah,
yeah,
their
new
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 logo.
logo and a new
Right.
vision about the, you know, Jack state of mind and
Right.
I don't know if they wanna add that or not.
Yeah, so, definitely, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? Yes.
I just have a question about the job description. Are we going to put that one on the next agenda as it is, or is that the plan?
I believe so. We were good with that, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Good to
Yes.
go.
On your consent agenda, there is a purchase, which is the insurance premium. The reason it was brought back to you is because it was increased by $13,000, because before the end of last year's premium to the beginning of this year's, we ended up purchasing 10 more police vehicles with equipment that got added to the insurance before they had, so when the final price came out, it was increased by $13,000. I wanted you to be aware that that's what that, why that is being brought back to you for approval again. But the cost on your consent agenda is the final cost.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the actual council meeting itself on item 7, the adoption of the minutes. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 8 is the adoption of the agenda. Do we have any additions?
And we do have a couple of additions. To the main agenda, amend item 25, consider action to adjourn into an executive session under the provisions of the Code of Alabama, section 36-25A-61, to discuss the general reputation and character of individuals. And also to the consent agenda, add item 15, budget amendments. Number 3 is street. And A is to increase account number 10-03-6202-00-60144 in the amount of $4,044.04 for insurance reimbursement. And then item 16, purchases over $7,500. Item 5 is PARD. A is $13,532.80 to Airmedic LLC for hot water 3-way valve replacements.
All right, is that it, Ms. Sir?
That's it.
Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as
So
amended?
moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 9 is public comments concerning any agenda item. This is your opportunity to address the council for any agenda item. Seeing no one come forward, move on to item 10.
Consideration of resolution number R-22-2239-25 regarding temporary closure of Second Avenue Northeast between Roebuck Water Street Northeast and 8th Street Northeast.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion?
I think it probably goes without saying that our own internal PIO
Read my mind.
get some of that information out well ahead of time, and any other news media that happens to want to share that to get the word out.
Anything else? No? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 11.
Consider action to authorize the mayor to sign the confidentiality agreement with Municipal Technology Services LLC per the attached.
So moved.
We have a motion and I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 12.
Consider action to approve amendment number 1 to agreement for services with First Due Locality Media to the original agreement executed on October 1, 2022, per the attached.
So moved.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Item 13.
Consider action to approve the employment of the following. Item A is Jacob Haynes, laborer in utility maintenance, range 1, effective February 12, 2025. Due to the promotion of Charles Campbell, Mr. Haynes is currently a temporary laborer. Item B is Jennifer Thrash, recreation park / playground specialist, range 10, effective upon compliance with ordinance number 273, and it's a new position. Item C is Philip Shaver, laborer in PARD, effective upon compliance with ordinance number 273, and it's due to the departure of Zach Kerr.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? If you're not aware that B, Jennifer Thrash, if that name sounds familiar, she is one that has been or has previously worked our farmers market. So we'll have to have discussions in the future about that. Okay. So, anything else to discuss on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 14.
Consider action to approve the promotion of the following: Stephen Scott Diggs, recreation park playground assistant, range 3, effective upon employment start date of recreation park playground specialist. Mr. Diggs is currently a laborer in PARD, and this is a new position.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Consent agenda.
Item 15 is budget amendments. Item 16, purchases over $7,500. Item 17, request to attend conference training session with cost exceeding $1,000. Item 18 is disposition of surplus property. Item 19, records destruction. And item 20 is boards and committees.
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. That leads us to item 21, public comments for any general items. This is your opportunity to address the council on anything you feel like you need to say. Seeing no one come forward, thankfully. We'll move on to item
I could go down.
No, that's okay. That was open-ended, and I realized what I said once it came out. Okay, item 20, okay. Item 22 is council member remarks. Anything from the council?
I'm good.
All right, and item 23 is the mayor's report. Mayor?
Thank you very much. I wanted to look these up there, I forgot my notes, but some upcoming events you need to be aware of. And council, you can even know where it's ages 5 through 12 for the Cupid. That's a dinner and dance party. It sounds pretty neat. 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Valentine's Day. And then, of course, it's Black History Month. We had the proclamation earlier, and remember their program at the community center will be February 16th, 2 p.m. So that's always a great event for us, so put that on your calendar. And then President's Day, February 17th will be a holiday. The city offices will be closed, and I think that's, there's some more. Don't forget, Tate Pride in Jacksonville Day will be coming up April 19th, so be cleaning out your basement, storage buildings and all that. We'll have a big shredder truck here, time to get rid of some of that stuff you need to clean out. So will be $100 prize for the group that brings the most people to volunteer, so now I think that's it. Yes. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Is there any other business that come before the council?
It isn't business, but I mentioned earlier about the regional tournament, and with that beginning. And just as my mind went somewhere else there just a minute ago, but I know the Jacksonville City Schools, I don't remember.
Okay,
So what's the time frame?
9 o'clock Friday morning.
Okay.
And then we play again at 10:30.
And this is the first time since when that both of our boys and girls programs?
Got all this institutional knowledge.
Yes.
But we're playing Winona. Both teams are playing Winona's teams.
And you said Friday at what time?
9.
Uh-huh.
And then 10:30.
But obviously, it's great to have that hosted here in the city. Jack State being that host for the regional tournament. a lot of people will be coming into the city, and again, that's where, you know, static signage that says welcome to Jacksonville is a beginning. I think dynamic signage of welcome to the regional tournament, this date to this date, all of those things are great chances for us just to provide that hospitality that we know that we have and we demonstrate, and so whether that be through signage, but hats off to Jacksonville City Schools and for making that. I remember that being, you know, just, I mean, it's a big deal for a lot of programs, and I know both of our teams here have probably said, that Jack State court, Bill Jones court, we've played on that all our lives growing up, but that's a big deal and compliments to the program.
And if we're gonna brag,
Yeah.
a major bragging point for me this past week is we won the county spelling bee. And so Hannah Bagwell and
seventh grade.
25 spellers, and she just took them out. Seventh
Hey,
grade.
we have to have her to come lead the pledge and spell it.
We will.
She can help me spell. I don't think she can do the pledge, she can help me spell anytime.
And the bass team, our junior group, won Saturday. Great things going on always.
There are.
We are the friendliest campus in the South and the friendliest city in the South, right?
Most
Right.
caffeinated.
Go hand in
cities.
hand.
Caffeinated, don't
Right.
say my line.
Oh, no.
All right, any other business? All right, item 25.
Consider action to adjourn into an executive session under the provisions of the Code of Alabama, section 36-25A-61, to discuss the general reputation and character of individuals.
I have a motion.
So moved. Second.
A motion and.
Either
motion.
way.
I thought you said you had a motion, so I'll give you a motion.
Okay, motion.
I'll second it.
Second. Any discussion? Other than, once again, thank you all for being here. We will not be returning. Have a good night. Be safe. Roll call, please.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Laster?
Yes.
Yeah.